Hey guys, welcome to Celia's Playlists. I am here today with the Odd One, who is an abstract hip hop artist from Albany, and I'm really excited to speak with you today. So, hey, how's it going?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm not too bad. I'm just trying to keep going, keep getting through the week. It's a two energy drink type of day.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I want to hear a little bit more about your background. So, I guess let's start with the Odd One. Tell me a little bit about your musical history.
Yeah, definitely. Musically, I kind of started. I started out as a bass player, so I picked up like a bass guitar when I was like 13, 14 years old. So that kind of like opened me up to like the whole world of like making music, everything in that realm. I actually was in a couple hardcore bands through like high school and early college time. And I just kind of had a point where I kind of just like fell in love with hip hop as a genre, and I thought like I could make it myself. I could, produce beats, write lyrics, and I was like, I kind of just want to pivot to something that I have like full creative control over. So that was kind of like around like 2012 when I jumped into things, and I've just been kind of like in and out of it since then.
I love that you started as a bass player.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone always needs a bass player.
Absolutely, not in high supply, so.
I feel like every bass player I know is like on like at least like two projects, three projects.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that in addition to obviously writing lyrics to songs, that you create your whole song. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
What is your your writing process, like whether that's writing the lyrics or writing the instruments? Like, tell me a little bit about how that works for you.
Yeah, of course. So I always start with the instrumental. It's kind of hard for me to like work backwards, but I just kind of sit down. I dig through. I do a lot of sampling from like old vinyls, so I'll dig through some records, through some like archives, looking for something that I can kind of flip, chop, make it sound like an awesome beat. I also like play a little keys, so I'll throw some synth parts in. Really, I just kind of jam until I find like that core loop that's kind of gonna make the song, and then I kind of just fill in everything else from there: the verses, choruses, bridge, stuff like that.
Very cool. When you are creating the lyrics for these types of things,
Mm.
are you more of a freestyle guy? Are you someone that has to write out the lyrics? Where's that come from?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not much of like a freestyler, at least like off the top, so to speak. But my style is kind of like a little stream of consciousness, I guess I would say. But I just kind of sit there, throw on my headphones, just think about what's on my mind, and that from there I just get a topic like what's going on in the world, what's going on with me, like maybe a past situation I was involved in, past relationship, something of that nature. So I just kind of get in that headspace, and then I just kind of just throw the beat on loop, and then I just kind of go from there.
That's cool. I like that process because I feel like the more times you hear something, the more ideas you might get from it. Like, little instrumental things that might have a really cool delivery that you can potentially do, and
Mm.
little ideas like that, because it's the same with video production. Like, the more times that you think about something, you might see something different.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. I mean, some things I'll put away and come back to, and then all of a sudden, I have an idea where I thought it was just going to be like a dead song. So yeah, it's definitely something I agree with.
So you're up in Albany, and I know that Albany
Mm-hmm.
has an active music scene up there because
Mm.
a couple of friends of mine work with a few bands up there.
Oh,
What
awesome. Yeah.
what is the vibe? What is the vibe of the Albany music scene?
It is very interesting. It's like very like diverse, all different genres, all different types of people, like all different walks of life type of a thing. It's just kind of really booming the past few years. Like just like right around like COVID, it kind of started ramping up. Some new venues were opening, old ones were closing, better ones were opening. So it's just a place where you can definitely find someone to vibe with, create with, play a gig with. There's just so much of it out there. There's events every single day, just about.
Sounds like the music scene down here on Long Island.
Yeah, no,
it's a
definitely.
It must be a similar vibe. I'm a big like, proponent of community, and I'm glad that you were mentioning that there's like people collaborating and stuff, because I feel
Mhm.
like one of the biggest things that people struggle with is being able to find the scene, find the music scene in the types of places that they live.
No, definitely. And I mean, it can be hard to get your foot in the door. There's some, areas that can be a little clicky, but, once you like find your people, start making connections, it can just kind of start to come together.
I've seen the development that something like a creative community can help, like for artists. I got into the music scene during COVID,
Mhm.
and I've been around for like what, about 4 years now. We're in 2004, 2024. Oh my god, you can
Yeah.
tell that I'm outside of time. But like, I've seen people grow from, having these like collaborators that they can go on songs with, but also having people to put on shows with. So
Yeah.
I know that you are a performer, so you perform shows.
Hmm.
What do you look for in terms of like, people to perform with in a show?
Yeah, I mean, it all just kind of comes down to, like what kind of show is it? I mean, there's a lot of like mixed genre shows going on around here lately. So there's like a hardcore hip hop show. There's like,
Cool.
stuff coming together. It really just, kind of comes to like, what promoter am I talking to? Who are they going to put on the show? So I don't really have too much control over who I'm like playing with, but I don't typically turn down a gig. So.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Mhm.
So let's pivot from shows real quick, because
Yeah.
I hear you're working on an album. Is this like a long time coming album or a themed album? Like what are we talking here?
Yeah, sort of. This one in particular, I've kind of like been working 22. It's called Stars in Daytime. It'll be out the end of this month that we're recording. So probably by the time this releases, it may be out. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like no like huge overarching theme. It's just kind of like musically what I've done the past several years and what I've put together, because I did take like a long break from music. So, just kind of like my first full length effort I've put out since starting up again. So just excited to get it out there.
So I have a multitude of like questions, some
Hmm.
about your
Of
album,
course.
but some about your break, because I feel like
Hmm.
that's like a thing that people don't really talk about super
For
often.
sure.
So let's go for the album first. So if you had to like, explain to someone like, the vibe of the album, what were you
Yeah.
going for in this one?
It's kind of like a bit of like a introspective, kind of spacey, poetic type of record, I guess I would say.
What were some of like the influences for this one?
Influences. It's kind of weird because like I listen to my stuff and I'm like I don't know like what it sounds like honestly like, but as far as like my favorite artists, I draw inspiration from just underground hip hop guys like Billy Woods, Elucid, Rap Ferreira. Those are a few of my like biggest influences. So I just kind of like in my delivery and writing style, I kind of draw inspiration from those artists.
Very cool. Is there like, are you dropping this as a whole album, or are you dropping this as singles or a single first? And if so,
Yeah.
what is the song?
So I've had singles leading up to the album coming out. I did 4 singles, which is kind of a lot, but I'm just trying. When you get out there, you got to like stretch out the marketing and all that. So, but yeah, so I've had 4 singles come out. The last one of the last ones is called Albatross, which is one of my favorites on the album. That I actually is on the Void playlist that you have there.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean that song is just kind of like a representation of my style, I guess I would say, like the type of instrumental it is, the gritty samples, kind of
Oh,
like
yeah.
political and tone, lyrical. It's kind of like that's my style. So that's kind of what's going to lead into the album coming out, and it's going to have 12 tracks total. It runs about like 33 minutes, so there's a good amount there that hasn't been heard yet.
I really liked Albatross. I liked
Oh, thank you.
the atmosphere that you created in the song, if that makes sense. Because like, in
Yeah.
addition to just like the actual instrumentals and also the performance, like
Hmm.
once you turn that on, like it's like you're creating an atmosphere around the listener.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that.
Of course. Like you know, I feel like people don't think about that part of production.
Yeah,
Like when they're listening to it because they're thinking, "Oh, like there's guitars, there's this, there's whatever." And not really thinking about the production aspect. And I
yeah,
can tell that, you know, you're putting thought into everything as a cohesive listening experience rather than just like an instrumental.
yeah, definitely, absolutely. I try to anyway. Sometimes it comes out that way, sometimes it doesn't, but yeah.
Well, I think that you're succeeding, at least in what I have heard thus far, and
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to hear more about the album.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more generally, you know, about
Hmm.
you know, your thoughts on different parts of being an artist. So, like, I know that we're in an interesting time where the internet is a big deal, and like we met through
Hmm.
Threads, and
Yes.
you know, what types of things are you doing as an artist to get yourself out there on the internet?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of run an Instagram page. I don't do as much as I really should. I mean, I'm trying to like get into TikTok just because that's where it is right now. But, it's just like me coming up with ideas for TikTok is not as fun as like me sitting down writing songs. But, so I have my Instagram page, I have my website, I kind of just plug everything right on my Instagram, and just trying to get new followers, meet with different people that are also involved in music, kind of grow from there.
I gotcha. I feel like one of the biggest things right now happens to be Threads, which is how we met. And
Mm,
I'm not to harp on Threads, but it's been a
hmm.
very interesting place for collaborations and also networking. I feel like people have been able to find more of like, you know, a peer to peer on there rather than trying
Yeah.
to just promote. And I feel like we're also entering a landscape where people don't want to be sold to or promoted to
Hmm.
directly. So I feel like it's been an interesting opportunity to like be able to meet people and have these kinds of discussions, and I feel like that's been a growing platform. Have you, other than obviously been being
Yeah.
added to some playlists, seen anything
Hmm.
or had any experiences that have been positive on the internet lately?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Threads goes, I mean, yeah, I'm like not too active on there. I'm, trying to be a little better about it, but I have met some people through Instagram. I have a song on my album coming up with an artist I met on Instagram. So, just it's pretty cool just connecting with people that all over the world, all over the country that you would have never have interacted with in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it's just especially someone like me that does everything so inclusively, like trying to branch out is important to broaden the creative horizons.
I think that exactly that, you know, what being able to collaborate outside of your scene is like the biggest draw for people
Hmm.
online right now. And I know both from like, you know, meeting people on here, but also, you know, people I know in person, like it's not always easy to find someone to like collaborate on a song
Hmm.
or to like, you know, pop in and
Yeah.
do a verse and things along those lines. So I think that that's really cool that, you know, you've found some sort of collaboration online.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like it's even more accessible now than like just in your town or city. Like because breaking into that, there's a lot of layers you kind of have to get through. But anyone can go on Instagram or Threads or whatever and just let the algorithm do its thing because it seems to just know like what you want to see. So.
That's true. It's like the AI or whatever they're using, like, you know,
Hmm.
that stuff's crazy because, like, you know, the people that have been brought to me through Threads have been very aligned with like the types of things that I do and speak about, which has been really cool. So, you know, glad to have met you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I have one more question for you, and
Yeah.
it is, what would be your big piece of advice for someone that is starting out in the industry, whatever direction you want to take that?
Yeah, so I mean, biggest piece of advice starting out in the industry, I would just say like just perfect your crafts, just work on whatever you're good at, and just kind of like even if you fail, just fail forward. Like you'll get better and better and better, and depends on what your goal is. Like if you just want to hang out in your town and play shows, which is kind of like what I like to do, that's great. You can get there, but yeah, just keep grinding, keep making music, and just don't worry about outside streaming numbers, stuff like that, because that'll like really like get your head like in a spin.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, watching the numbers can drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the odd one. where can people find you? Where can people find your music? And, how can they get a hold of you if they would like to collaborate with you?
Yeah, so Instagram at the Odd One Raps, same on Threads. You can find my link trees there. It's got my website, email address, everything. You can just DM me on Instagram. That's fine. But yeah, and on all streaming services. So if you just search the Odd One, I should be like the first one to come up there.
Amazing. Thank you so much for
hmm
joining me today and, sharing some of your wisdom. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited for everyone to hear more about your story.
Yeah, thank you as well, and I really appreciate what you're doing for small artists. It's really awesome.
Oh, thank you so much.
hmm
Well, everyone, thank you guys for, hanging out with us today and learning more about the odd one, and I'll see you guys on the next interview. Bye, guys.